Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. I'm thrilled that we have Pete Davis here with us. He is a futures trader, and then on top of that, he's a coach. And I know Pete for a while now, so really cool guy, interesting as well. Stick with us today, and Pete, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Absolutely, Tony. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm a trader. I'm a day trader in futures. I primarily trade the indexes, which for those of you who aren't traders, that would be the S&P 500 is what I focus on. And I focus on the futures market without getting too technical. Um, what that means is basically I get to use a lot of leverage. So you win big, and if you're, well, frankly, if you're kind of dumb and reckless, you can lose big too, but I don't lose big. And I'm also a coach. I developed my own method for trading. Took me about 15 years to do it, and I coach people up on how to do that themselves so that they can become profitable. And their goals are being financially free, but frankly, just being free to do whatever they want to do with their own time.
Wonderful. And what actually inspired you to get into this line of business?
So it was back in 2006. So it was about a year before, for those of us who are old enough to remember this, when the last really good blow up, Tony, I know you had experiences there. And I read a book called When Genius Failed, and it was about this very famous hedge fund in 1998 called Long-Term Capital Management. And it was run by all these geniuses like quants from Wall Street and MIT, mathematicians and all that. And they built this hedge fund and it was killing it. It was like the darling of Wall Street. And they were using all sorts of leverage. And then some events happened in the world too. And you may remember when they had the Asian flu, the Asian markets had a big crisis, and the Russian market crashed. And basically, their style of trading didn't work, and they blew up. But they were really leveraged, and they borrowed like, I think, I don't know how many hundreds of billions of dollars from all the big banks on Wall Street. So the Federal Reserve, they were about 8 hours away from shutting the markets down globally. The Federal Reserve in New York had to bring all the banks together to bail them out. So the Fed didn't bail them out, but they forced the banks to. They cut the interest rates, and it was a huge thing. And I remember reading the book, and I didn't really understand like the technical stuff of what I was reading, but I was fascinated. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I was just like something about markets and global markets. Like I was hooked. So I was like, I'm going to learn how to trade. So I opened a brokerage account with a group here in the US called TradeStation, very famous brokerage. And anytime you open like a brokerage account or buy for people who trade, a lot of people use TradingView, you can buy indicators that basically tell you when to buy or sell. And I bought this indicator and I ended up meeting the guy who created it because he did a daily trade room. And he would trade also the indexes, but he would trade big positions every day. And we became friendly. And my background at that time was graphic design, doing web design. And he wanted to take his system and make it into a website where people subscribed. So he hired me to do it. And I worked with him for 5 years and I learned all the stuff he knew. But trading's very personal. You have to have a style that's kind of your own. Like Tony, I know you've coached athletes. Like every athlete, if it's a tennis player, they have their own style. And you can't coach someone to have someone else's style. You have to have your own style and do that to the best of your ability. So I was like on and off and I just kind of couldn't get it. And then a few years back, I took another course, a day trading course, and I didn't do anything that they did. I learned one thing. And that one thing that I learned, I was like, whoa, every time I see this, the market reverses. And I had this theory. I was like, I think it's possible to time the market reversals every day with like insane accuracy, which conventional wisdom will tell you is impossible. And I was like, I'm going to prove it. And it took me about another 2 years to figure it out. I took one thing from this course and I put it on my charts and I went all mad scientist and I just studied relentlessly for like 2 years, like literally every night, weekends, would take screenshots of my charts and put them in Google Docs and look for patterns and I created rules. And as you know, it's very hard to take something complex and make it simple. And I just simplified and simplified and simplified until I got it. And then so I have my own method, which is like totally different than it's kind of hard for me to talk to other traders because a lot of people do the same things. And so that's kind of it's been a labor of love and sometimes just a labor. And so now again I coach other traders to do the same thing. And coaching is also good because trading can be isolating. So you get to meet different people. You get to meet different people who frankly are doing other stuff in their lives that might open you up to opportunities. And it also just helps me be a better trader because now I have to figure out how to explain my stuff really simply. And the better I can explain it to someone else, the better I can use it myself. So
Wow.
it's kind of a win-win.
Yes, totally. Like, definitely an interesting story there. Interesting sort of like way how one thing led to another and everything else. And now you're trading. So what's your plan at the moment? What's your goal at the moment for your business?
Well, I mean, twofold. So the goal for me, obviously, is to make a ton of money. So now that I have the system fleshed out, and we were talking before the show here, so we're here, in the spring, the late spring, about to turn into summer here, and the markets have died off. And the market's like in a way that I've never seen before. It's been incredibly hard to trade. Other people that I know, both here in the US and around the world, have said it's like some of the worst market conditions they've ever seen. And in trading, you want volatility, you want the markets to move up and down. They're doing the exact opposite. And so that forced me to go back and kind of reevaluate my method. But I bring that up is that it's relevant to your question is that it helped and it actually forced me to simplify my method because a lot of the patterns I was looking at weren't working. So I had to go look a little bit deeper without getting too technical to find what really drives the market moves. And so where this is really going is I trade one market and eventually I'm going to trade a lot of markets. And the reason I only trade one is it's very hard to keep an eye on more than one. So I will go into different futures markets like gold and oil and stuff like that. But this method will work on stocks, and then you can take it to stocks and trade options. And so what I will eventually do is actually automate the whole thing, is build it into an algorithm, probably with some AI. I have a group that will do it. It's just a significant investment and will probably take like a year to do. But then I can do that. So my goal on the trading side is to do that. Um, and then once it's automated, what I really want to do is I want to give it to just like some family members so they can trade it. And frankly, the plan actually is I'll just set them up with their own accounts so they can trade it and they can make money so they can do whatever they want with their lives. They have some financial challenges too. So it'd be great to be able to give that to them. And then also to be able to give that to other people. It's like I like coaching, but I want to coach people who are kind of like-minded, who are ambitious, really want to get after it. Like, I meet people and they're like, well, my ambition is to make $500 a day. Well, okay, that's great, but that's not my ambition. Like my ambition is to be, I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, well, it's unrealistic to be the top 1% of all traders. And I'm thinking like, well, you're talking to the wrong guy, buddy. I'm not here to be number two. Like, you grind and grind for, I don't care if it takes you 10 years. So I'm very ambitious. And that's really what I want to do. And I think the coaching part is less about what I can do for people financially. You're a coach too, you're a performance coach. There's a tremendous amount of gratification just helping someone like achieve their potential. I think at the end of the day, I'm a big believer in human potential. It's like I want to maximize my life in every area, financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, like all those stuff, health wise, like it's a freaking cool way to live, man. Like it's really hard to get there. Like people are at a point like when you struggle, I've been there, like you struggle and your life is shit. And the only thing that keeps you going is it can be better. And maybe it's just some people are wired that way, but then you kind of cross that line. You're like, oh man, I just want more.
Totally. And then also, what's your one of the tips that you can share with the audience with someone who is now looking into getting into trading, but right now, if you go on TikTok, Instagram, anywhere, like there's a lot of these flashy guys, coming with some cool cars and stuff and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
just follow me and you're gonna become a billionaire," blah blah blah. But like, what advice you have for someone just starting out, like in terms
Yeah.
of
So
who
I
to
would
follow
say,
and what to do?
well, as you know me, I'm pretty off the cuff, so I'll just be honest with my language. I would say 99% of those guys are full of shit. Usually what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you into their Discord group, and then they get you in a Discord group and they try to sell you a system. And the system really, and this is really important if you're just starting out. What they'll try to do is sell you into a system when they'll tell you go open a brokerage account for $500, and basically you follow my trades, you copy my trades, and they have a deal with a brokerage account and they keep 5 or 10%. And they're like, it's 95% accurate. And I'm like, so why are you selling it for someone for $500? Why don't you just trade it yourself and just leverage the shit out of it and just, or not just leverage, you could only don't have to leverage, you can just scale it and just make a lot of money and do it safely. So I think their stuff really doesn't work. And the reason I know is that I get hit up with that stuff a lot, and I'm saying, great. I said, show me verified returns, or let me copy your trades free for a week and see that it works. Because verified returns really aren't like unless you're going to go to like Deloitte, right?
Mhm.
Like, let me copy your trades free for a week. And if I see it works, I'll put a little money at it. Like, and they all say, well, it's my reputation. So that's number one. Number two, I'll give you three pieces of advice. Number two would be it's a journey. So don't look at it as get rich quick. And I started out like that, but like be patient. A lot of people get into and they think like I need to make a lot of money right now. And the truth is you don't like that puts you in survival mode, which is a bad way to live anyway. And you'll just lose in the market because you can't. And again, you can relate to this. Like Tony, if you have an athlete or a performer who's in survival mode, their thoughts will start going to something different. And it's always what happens if I make a mistake. And as you know, most people aren't conscious of this. What their thought really goes to is if I make a mistake, I fail and I'll be broke and I'll be abandoned and nobody will love me. And it sounds crazy, but it's 100% true. Like it's a great quote that I always remember. It said, you don't trade the markets, you trade the beliefs about yourself. The markets are a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So all of your shit, all of your fears, your traumas, your insecurities will come out. That's been the hardest part of my journey, and it's been the most rewarding. That's why so few people are successful at it. So that would be number two. And number three is you got to have your own system that has clear rules that tell you what to do, and you have to follow your rules. It should be rigid at the start, and then as you get used to it, you can figure out when to break your rules. But a rule is when I buy, when I sell, when I get in, and you don't need to take every opportunity because if you're guessing, what will happen is then you will start taking trades not based on what you think will happen, but on what you want to happen, and those are two different things. And then you don't know why you're getting in, and then you don't know why you're getting out, and then you lose money. Like I see people be like, well, I lost like X amount of money. I lost, someone has a small account. I lost $1,000 on this trade. I'm like, how could you lose $1,000? That's like an insane amount of risk for what you're trading. Like you should lose maybe $200. And that, in turn, and so that would be what I'd say. And look, obviously, if you can get a coach, same with self promotion, do that as well. But those would be my three pieces of advice. It's the same with anything else in life.
Totally, totally. And then also when it comes to mindset, I know we spoke about this a lot as well. Like, what's one of the major sort of challenges when it comes to mindset for new traders or even existing traders?
Trading is really interesting, and it has two types of mindsets that would be seem contradictory. And I'll reference because I know when we first met, you had spoke about Novak Djokovic, and now that I think about it, he's the one guy who might embody this, or a guy like Rafa. I don't know as much about Roger, so I'll leave him out. For those of you guys who aren't tennis fans, we're talking about Rafa Nadal, of course. But it's a combination of two things. Number one, trading is competitive, right? Like the winners take the losers' money. That's how the markets structurally work. So you have to understand that that is realistic. So don't be naive. You got to be competitive. You got to be mentally tough. You got to be able to bounce back from losses. Like in a way, and I don't mean this misogynistically, but most traders are men. Like you kind of have to man up or you have to be tough, right? But I'll say that like if you're a woman who is trading, what I mean is you have to have a competitive mindset would be the better way of because you think of like Coco Gauff who just won. She's a woman, obviously, but she has a competitive mindset. She has a setback. She doesn't get flustered. Or, Sabalenka, who she was playing, same thing, right? That's the reason that they are able to excel at that level. But the flip side is you cannot treat the market as a place of scarcity. You got to treat the market actually as a place of love. If you see money as scarce, or yes, the winners take the losers' money, but it's totally kind of contradictory. But if you see the market as a place where everyone is out to get each other, you go back into that survival mindset. So it's almost like you're competitive, but you don't really care about the outcome. That's why having rules are important. Like I tell people, like, your goal is not to win trades. Your goal is to make good trades, like a tennis player again, or a basketball player. Your goal is to take good shots. That's it. If you're an NFL quarterback, your goal is to make the right play. That's not always going to work out, but if you consistently make the right play, it's going to work out most of the time.
Totally. Yeah, I believe as well, like consistency is one of the major factors, especially when it comes to what I've seen as well. Some people lost a lot of money in trading because they were not consistent. They sort of went in and they were like making some wins and things like that, and then eventually they got either greedy or stressed out or something else happened for them, so that they just like went against the rules that they set up for themselves, you know. So yeah, this is
And I would also say like very much so like because you can't control what goes on in the market. You can only control yourself. That's why you have a plan. And you got to take it seriously too. Like I see, like I'm in Discord groups because I go in there just to network and meet people and stuff like that. And it is helpful. And I met some cool people that I do kind of connect with on a regular basis. But I have people will hit me up, right, which is totally fine. And I have like newbies who hit me up, and I'm always happy to answer questions and give advice because I don't want to be the guy who doesn't. But I can always tell based on how they talk or how they type in the chat whether they're going to be successful. And if someone like it's like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" I'm like, "This guy's going to fail because he's not taking it seriously." Like, if you want to come in here as a kid, like one of those kids who was trying to drive up GameStop like a couple of years ago, like just, just save your money, man. Like, take it seriously. It's like anything else in life. If you want to get in shape, take it seriously. Go to the gym every day and don't eat Hostess cupcakes. Like, if you want to be in business, take it serious. Doesn't mean you don't have bad days. It doesn't mean you don't have days where you're not at your best. But by and large, you commit to taking it seriously. And so that would be, it's like anything else. Like, you don't need to be a serious person. You can be a total clown and have fun. It just means that you're committed and that you treat it like a business or something that you're willing to put the effort into, that you don't want to just do 5 minutes a day.
exactly. And if someone wants to get in touch with you or connect to you or find out a little bit more about what you do, how they can do that?
Go to my website. It is realpetedavis.com. And all my contact information is over there.
Wonderful. So I'll leave a link for this in the description of this episode. And Pete, thank you so much for being a guest today, for sharing your story, your tips as well. And thank you all for watching and listening. If you like this episode, drop us a like, subscribe, and also share it with your friends and family. All the best, and see you in the next episode.
Always a pleasure, Tony. Thank you.